Welcome to Global Domination Live. My name is Lisa Marie Wand, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Stephanie Gilezan. And we've spent the last 2 decades building and scaling our real estate businesses. And most real estate agents focus on their immediate neighborhood, city, or region. And we say, why think small when you can grow your business to a whole new level? And EXP offers opportunities for you to take your local business to a national and a global scale. So welcome to our show. And today we have the one, the only Clifford Blanquicet Jr., who's here. And Clifford, you brought your brokerage over to EXP in 2020. Is that correct? Oh, I don't know if I can hear you.
You're muted, Clifford. Your voice has gone away.
I almost lost my voice, but you totally lost yours. How about now? No?
That is so weird. He was working perfect a second ago. Maybe exit and come back in because we're okay. Let's do that. I mean, Clifford's awesome, Lisa Marie. You know, he's out of the North Carolina market, owned his own independent brokerage, and what resonated with me is with him and me both, and you, all three of us had this in common. We felt we were prisoners of our real estate business. And so I cannot wait for him to come back in and tell everybody about his last year journey with EXP and what it's done for him on a national level, because he'll share with everyone. There he is. I can hear him now.
I can hear you both now. Sorry about that.
We were talking about you while you were gone, Clifford. So welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
So tell us, Stephanie. Stephanie knows you. I don't know you yet, so I'm looking forward to getting to know you more today.
Well, and that's the thing, Clifford. When you were having your technical difficulty, I just shared with everyone about how excited I was for you to be on the show today, because like me and like Lisa Marie, you too owned your own successful, highly successful independent brokerage. You didn't need to make any changes. You were perfectly fine on the path that you were in. But I'll never forget that phone call you made to me one day when you said, what you said is exactly how I feel. And it was about us being prisoners to our business. Share that with everyone, because it's an amazing story.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me today. It's an honor and a privilege, and respect both of you so much and what you've done. So thank you. But yeah, my wife and I had a commercial real estate firm that we opened November 1st of 2016. And day one, I thought it would just be me and go make more commission and keep all my commission and, go close more deals. And then she said, hey, you probably should scale this. You can't can't hit your goals, just by yourself. So I said, great, I'm going to go get some brokers. So went and asked and had asked the buddy to be a broker with me. And then more people came. And 5 years into the business, we were one of the biggest commercial firms in Charlotte. We were the 10th fastest growing company in Charlotte. We had all these awards and we were closing all these deals. And I was just working nonstop and was like a prisoner to Charlotte. Didn't really do deals outside my market, was in only one market, and felt like if that market went downhill, what would I do next? And just really didn't make the business side of it, didn't make the profit that we wanted, because there was so much overhead and expenses. And I was the BIC, of course. So when there was a problem, it was all on me. And the E&O insurance was getting more and more expensive with the more brokers, and the office was getting bigger and bigger. And the printer was going more and more, and there was more and more coffee and beer being consumed in the office.
And that's important in commercial real estate.
Very. And wine. And, expenses just went up and up and up, and not everyone, performed. And so it's like, hey, Clifford, throw one on your back and go get more listings and more leads for these people and supply them. And I just honestly was wearing myself out. And I thought, talked to my wife and said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better structure. There's got to be a better game plan. There's got to be better help, better platforms, better accounting, better back office. And it's just not happening with us. And by the grace of God, EXP fell into our lives, and here we are. Such an amazing back office, accounting platform, technology, accountability, and referral systems. We have a BIC now, and I'm not the BIC and not worried about losing my license every 30 minutes. It's just an incredible, new platform, and the freedom it gives my family and I, and the peace of mind to focus on bigger picture things, helping brokers be more successful and have good teammates. That's priceless, and it really changed our lives.
And you're making more money now not owning, because all three of us had that scenario going on in our previous, prior to EXP, and it was having all of that overhead, because no matter how successful we weren't a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company that could go out and negotiate the correct contracts to have the access to data, the advertising platforms, to be able to scale and do business outside of our own city. Because, like you, Lisa Marie too, we were both just married to our cities. And now we have found global domination, not only in our real estate business and with our team, but also working with each other with all the collaboration that is going on.
I couldn't agree more. I was lacking mentorship myself, on how to scale and how to be the best broker I could be and be a good mentor to others. And, you learn from people who've been there and done it, and, hopefully made some mistakes so they can tell you their mistakes, right? And help you. And so now I have great mentorship and in all of you, really, and just feel super blessed. But it's a family. Every time someone joins our team, I say, welcome to the family, because that's how we treat people. And we just want everyone to be successful and to, love what they do.
Now, I'm going to jump in here, because Lisa Marie, Clifford's story and how he got into real estate, to me, is so inspiring. We all have an amazing story. Yours, you were going down a different path. And Clifford, I want you to share that today, because you had a dream, didn't necessarily work out. So dive into where Clifford started to now and how you got there.
Thank you. So 2012, December 2012, graduated college and turned professional in golf January 1st, 2013, and had about a little less than a year of expenses on hand for tournaments and travel, entry fees and gas, and you name it. And I raised that money through selling shares during college, and promising investors, a return if I play well, and did give a little return, but not enough for people to renew. So that first year, made it to the PGA Tour Latino America, and missed a couple of cuts, and that was it. I had no status and I had no money. And the investors at the end of the year said, you made us a little money, but not really enough for us to want to reinvest. And so I was coming back from Puerto Rico from a tournament and had no money and had an apartment and all this going on. And at the time, I had a girlfriend who I'm not married to now, but her grandmother called me and said, "Hey, tough cookie, I'm basically, loaded, but I'm not going to sponsor you. I need you to work for me." and I was like, "Oh, okay. Now you can write a check right now, but okay." And so she said, "I just bought these buildings in the Charlotte area, and I want you to manage them." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do anything. I need to pay the bills." And so I was the property manager, the leasing agent, the janitor. I was the handyman, the HVAC tech, the restoration guy, the electrician, you name it. And it was almost 100,000 square feet of office and retail, and I had no idea. I was working 16 hours a day, 6.5 days a week, just to keep the place clean. And boy, she was getting a killer deal. Now that I know what I know. And I would sleep there a lot of nights. It was crazy. And, I learned so much from that. I mean, really did. Met my wife, at one of those buildings. So super blessing. And then also one of our tenants, he was a commercial real estate broker. He saw me running around that place for 6 months and finally said, "Hey, man, if you got your real estate license and work this hard, you would make a killing." And I was like, good, because I'm about to break up with the granddaughter. She's going to fire me. And I need to make some money. And so I went and got my real estate license. And sure enough, I broke up with the granddaughter, got my license, all within a couple of weeks. She fired me, and then that same week I met my wife. So just, God's plan really at work there, and something incredible. So then commission only brokerage, just met my wife, broke up with the girlfriend. And then 5 weeks later, I asked my new girlfriend to marry me. So the pressure was on. I was like, man, I just bought this ring I couldn't afford. I love this woman. I want a life with her, and I need to provide, best I can for her financially and in every way possible. So
this is like a movie, Clifford. We need to get a hold of Hollywood and have them produce this thing.
It might be fun. It might be fun. But my wife, she's so worth it. She's so awesome. I just grinded. I was trying to make her happy and show her that I can be, the man and that I'm supposed to be. And I'm only 25 years old. I don't know what the heck I'm doing at anything. So much to learn. And just found out that motivation really pushes you, because I worked my tail off. And after about a year and a half, he looked at me and said, you don't need me. You don't need my mentorship. You don't need my leads. Like, you sold more real estate in this, in the past 6 months than I ever have. Like, you really get it. And, you should probably consider opening your own firm. And so with my wife, who's an awesome entrepreneur, so what do you think? And she said, absolutely. So as soon as I could become a broker in charge in North Carolina, which is 2 years after you're getting your license, I went and took the big course, and we opened Blank Real Estate in 2016. That, I guess the moral of that is, motivation is really something. We got married in December of that year, and on our honeymoon got pregnant, and later in that calendar, and we actually had a tragic ectopic, where it was very tough on my wife, and we were in the ICU for 9 or 10 days. But the Lord blessed us with getting pregnant again right away. And then the same calendar year in December, had Callie, our first baby. And so with her being pregnant and, just getting married, I was just so focused on making sure that they had a life I never had. I did not grow up in the best situation. And so, I'd say for this industry or any, motivation and your why, like that big why, not just like, I want a nice car, or like, I want to go on a vacation, but that big why was just huge for us. And it drove us, to work hard. And she's always been such a supportive person to say, hey, I know you need to make one more phone call. I know you need to go on one more listing appointment. I know you need to do that. I'm here. And when you get back, I'm going to love you. I'm not going to resent you. I know you're doing it for us, and, and I appreciate that. And so that teamwork has been just of such a blessing.
So awesome. And see, Lisa Marie, it's amazing.
My mouth is like hanging open. I'm like,
because
the timing of everything is just perfect.
This is what I love so much about you, Clifford, is that, you didn't know what you didn't know, right? I mean, you didn't come into this growing up in the business. You didn't really have that mentor, but you knew you had a reason why. And you knew that if you put in the effort, it was going to pay off. And it has paid off big, because you started in 2012, not knowing anything, going from superstar janitor and, checked all the boxes on, could have been mommy, your other mommy-in-law possibly, but no, it didn't work out. That's good. And, and that's a thing. And that's why we do these shows. One, to bring on awesome people like Clifford to share their stories, but to also share with people how they too can have effort, right? And especially when you're plugged into the right systems, you surround yourself with the right people. All there is elevation at that moment for you to continue to rise and elevate. And Clifford, I want you to talk about this too, because it's not like you're out there peddling, nothing wrong with this, but you're not out there peddling $50,000 properties. You have closed, you're already qualified to be an SIOR and received that, last year. And that is a huge designation in commercial real estate space, because he's doing large industrial developments and sales and listings. I mean, talk about that, because you're not doing just little bitty stuff. I mean, you're doing the big stuff, and it's possible to do the big stuff with very little years of experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, all these lessons were learned the hard way. In the beginning, I had no experience, I had no mentorship, and no one knew me in Charlotte, North Carolina at all. Not from there, didn't know anybody. And so I started off by doing the smallest lease deals in the world. I mean, my first commission check was $108. And I worked for months on that. And that's no joke,
Yeah.
So
you earned that $108 times
earned it.
10.
I know I still have a picture on my phone of it. It's incredible. But the first year did 24 or 5 leases and no sales. Next year did 28 leases and 1 sale. It was just low hanging fruit. Like, I didn't have the experience. No one really knew me. And so the first 2 years, I just did all these leases. Now the leases got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, in this industry, if it's a 10-year lease, on a 40,000 square foot industrial space, it's a good day.
Yeah.
A really good day. And so, that was great. But, then I said, all right, how can I get these listings? Because I was representing so many tenants and such. And year 3 is whenever I started getting those really incredible industrial listings and office listings around Charlotte. People seeing my name more through LoopNet and through the platforms, listing platforms, Crexy, all these amazing ones, and saying, okay, he has, some experience and possibly some clout to handle a $4 million listing or a $40 million listing. And so, started small as could be and didn't know anything, and really worked up the ranks, and it took time and mistakes. But now I do mostly, in the team, we do mostly off-market investment deals. A lot of triple net investments, a lot of value add, a lot of income producing property. And so we don't list as heavy as we used to. We just have a whole, pocket full of pocket listings, and we present those to our investors. And when they have 1031s and they have cash and money to close, they buy them if they look good. And so, the transition was, building the name, building the reputation, building the expertise, becoming, the guy or the girl. Some people started calling me Mr. 85 because I-85 goes through Charlotte, and every exit I had sold or leased a building along it, industrial. And so you really got to get known for something. And then it takes time. I mean, I hate to say this, but everyone wants to, close the $8 million deal their first month, or get that listing the first month. It just doesn't happen typically. If it does, then, count your blessings. And it can happen. But you really have got to become the expert in the marketplace, have the reputation, and get known for it. And then, you can still go for them when you're just starting, but, a few months in the industry or a couple of years, when you've got that clout or those awards or, that closing volume, then that's when it becomes real easy for people to say yes. And so, now I just feel like, the batting average of showing up at a listing appointment when we do get them, we rarely lose. I mean, rarely. And I hate losing. I hate it. I can't stand it. And so, but now we have, the platforms and the technology and build out and Reonomy and the data ready and, cars, you name it, through EXP Commercial. The first came the ethic, work ethic, and the reputation and the respect. But then, how do you compete with CBRE, JLL, Cushman? Because, they're the juggernauts who seem to get really good listings. Well, now we come in with the technology part and the platform and the team and the mentorship and the camaraderie, and now the name with the EXP Commercial. And so it's really just a progression, over the career, to get to the point where you work on these bigger deals, really.
I love the fact that you talked in the beginning, Clifford, about your big why. That's one of the things that I teach to new and junior commercial real estate agents, is about connecting with that big why, because, not every day is a great day, and you're picking up the phone and people are hanging up on you. And it sounds like you were doing a lot of leases. Were you going around and door knocking and introducing yourself to people?
Yes. Going to industrial parks that had, 30, 50 tenants, and just walking in every space. I mean, the guy who trained me for about 3 hours the first day, that's all he did. He went to an industrial park that he had been going to for 10 years, walked in every door and everyone knew his name. And he chatted about the weather. And then he said, all right, when's your lease up? You ready? You ready for help? Oh, no, we've got another year. We've got another 6 months. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop in a couple of months and see you. He said, that's how it's done, boy. I was like, all right, well, that's what I'm going to do. And no one does that anymore. No, I don't know hardly anyone except for like people that I beg to do it, to go do that. And I'm telling you, if you got in your car and you park somewhere and you walked for 4 hours in whatever direction, going in spaces, some people are going to cuss you out and some people are going to be rude. But a lot of people, if you are kind and do it the right way, or, are genuinely like, okay, well, you came here in person and, here, you gave me a business card, and when I'm ready, I'll call you. Well, what's the best number to call you at? And I'm going to follow up in a couple of months. When people do that, it expedites. Well, anyway, I'd say the success rate of that is a multiple more than cold calling. And we cold call too, and I cold call too. There's not days I don't feel like driving all over the country and going in places and scared a dog's going to attack me or get cussed out. But I promise, that multiple is much higher.
Clifford, I'm so glad you brought that up, because it wasn't just 2 weeks ago, Lisa Marie, we interviewed this amazing rock star on CRE Power Hour from Colorado, very close in age to you, Clifford, which I love. Obviously, Lisa Marie and I are older than Clifford by probably a decade, but
no.
But what's so great what is so great is she said the same thing. She built her business not being scared, driving around, knocking and walking into businesses. She said, yes, I'd walk in. Sometimes people would run me off, but I didn't let that stop me from doing it again the next day and continuing to do it in the future. And I love that, because I think over time, with technology, we lose those personal touches. But I think people should do that. I encourage it. My son, who's 23 and is now in the business, that is what he's doing. It means something when you can walk in and shake someone's hand. But that's how building that brand all begins. And that's also what you did so right, so early on. It took you very little time to recognize you've got to make a name for you. That way, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what brokerage you're at, you are still Clifford. And that's who they recognize. And that is so powerful. So kudos to you for knowing that at such an early on, young age, because I think a lot of people in this business, they start to do that when they've been in the business 15 or 20 years. And it's not too late, but they're just that much further behind. So
yes, I agree. And these tenants that I represented now, not only do they call me if they need to renew, but if they call me and we renew on a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease, I then call the property owner and say, hey, I know you've got a new lease in place. Now's a great time to sell to another investor. It is just continuous prospecting by doing the hard work early and first. And then it's continuous pipelines being full. Leased a building early in my career and then sold it 3 different times, 3 different investors as rents went up and as, the weighted average of lease term went up and up and up. Then it went from local investor buying it to regional to a national investor buying it, all at a lower cap rate along the whole way. And it's just really cool to see that progression. But yeah, it's been keeping the pipeline full for many years, and it's been really nice.
So do you feel like because all 3 of us have owned our own brokerages and then came to eXp Commercial, do you feel like the weight of the world of being the broker, the one responsible for everything, has been lifted off your shoulders, and that you can plug into the resources at eXp Commercial and have some more freedom? Because, a lot of people in our business, it's all about freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, right? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. As a broker in charge, I have received several brown envelopes, and I don't know about your state, if they're brown or if they're purple, but when I see one in North Carolina, it is not comfortable. Now, luckily, we've always never had one issue. Never had an issue where it went to, some disciplinary action, which is nice. For most intents and purposes. And also we always get our attorney involved early, but that costs money.
Yeah.
That each time was a couple of $1,000s, to have the attorney type a response, sit down and we figure it all out. Because brokers make mistakes, and even if you don't make a mistake, people get mad, and
Yeah.
we're low hanging fruit. Because if we have E&O insurance, people know eventually that might pay out. And so, this is a harsh reality of the industry. But we get brought in. If there's a lawsuit, we just get brought in. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if we disclosed or not. And I've been there and saw the beginnings of that starting to happen. Luckily, got out of it pretty quick because we didn't do anything wrong. But I've seen that. And that terrified me. Even though now a little thicker skin and a little more experience, I know, oh, it's okay, right? Unless very deliberately did something wrong, but it takes time and money and effort. And, that was one glorious thing about EXP Commercial. I thought, people, even if they don't make a mistake, can still get a brown envelope. So, that takes time, effort, and resources, and EXP Commercial has our back. They have the E&O insurance, they have the BICs. And, if someone deliberately did something awful, then I hate it. I hate it. I hate it for EXP Commercial, and that should never happen. But in all of our experiences, it was never deliberate from our brokers. And so that does not deserve the time and effort and money I had to put into it as a firm owner. And so, and then also, thinking immediately, oh, if my license gets taken away, how can I run the firm and how can I make commission and referral fees? Very terrifying. So, the fact that EXP Commercial provides that broker in charge and insurance is literally makes you sleep better at night. And then second to that, gives us more time, as brokers or owners or investors to focus on what's important. And what's important, that's to take care of your brokers. That's to take care of your clients. That's to take care of your family and, take care of your own deal flow and your own investments. And so since EXP Commercial, since our, merger with EXP Commercial, we have bought and sold more investment properties personally. I have been a much better mentor. My phone is on more. It's always on, but like I am responding faster to people who need help and our brokers. It's just made us better business owners and better investors and also, better family, husband and father.
And that's so true. I mean, it's like everything that we don't want to do as a broker owner, that's the time vampire in us. We get that back, and then we're so much more productive in our own business and for our clients. And I absolutely love that. Clifford, I also want you to talk about, Charlotte's where you built, Charlotte's where you were known, but you've expanded past Charlotte now. You've had that ability to do so. Talk about that.
Yeah, and once again, thanks to EXP Commercial, we can do deals seamlessly in, almost all 50 states. I'd say 40 some seamlessly, thanks to, EXP Commercial and what you've done, Stephanie. I mean, you went out there and pioneered it day one, and I appreciate that, and I know that story, so thank you.
Thank you.
But, effortlessly, there's a BIC in every state. There's Air CRE for the forms. There's other brokers that are in workplace that can help tour a property if need be, meet a client, an emergency. I mean, we are closing deals in not just Charlotte, North Carolina, but in multiple states at multiple times just because of this platform. Before, it was very difficult because I would literally call up a broker in Arizona and say, hey, I have a referral for you. You don't know me. I don't know you. I'd like to work it with you. No way. Okay, well, that's off the table. And secondly, I'm just going to hand them over to you then, and I'll try to stay in touch. Well, I wasn't in touch, obviously, very much and didn't do much. And at the end of it, get a referral fee and say thank you. And then they would take that client for that region, and it wouldn't stay with me. Why would they stay with me? I had
Right.
no pull in Arizona, couldn't do anything for them. So then I felt like I lost the opportunity to turn one client into several transactions. And so now, with the team in Arizona and the BIC and the forms and Reonomy and all the platforms, we can service brokers in several states and close deals without giving a portion of our commission away and without potentially losing that client forever.
And that's global domination right there. That's what we're talking about. That is where, people will say this to me all the time, and it's okay. They're like, "Oh, Stephanie thinks bigger than anything in the world." And you're right. You're absolutely right. Actually, all three of us here on this call think bigger. Why? Because we can. Why do we want to scale and grow our business across the United States? Why? Because we can. We can with EXP. And why wouldn't we want to do that? I love the fact that, especially in an economy, there's a lot of things happening. And I love the fact that we don't just have one opportunity to do business, which is where we reside and where our license is and what we know, but we can move to all the different markets, and do deals without being hindered, without giving our clients away. We still control the destiny of our future. And that's what successful real estate business is. I've been in this industry 23 years. Lisa Marie, not too far behind that as far as time goes. And that's the name of the game, people. You get clients and you duplicate and you replicate, you repeat, you repeat, you repeat. And when you're great at what you do, and all three of us are, they keep coming back to us. So we want to be the people, we want to be the brokers, we want to be with the brokerage where when they say, "Okay, Stephanie, thanks for the Kentucky transaction, but now we've got to go to Louisiana because that's our next market." And guess what? I'm going with them because we can, right? That's the point of what we're trying to get across with global domination. Because outside of the United States, we're in 24 additional countries where we can do the exact same thing. I mean, again, we owned our own brokerages, independent brokerages. I don't care if you're with a franchise, doesn't matter, because a franchise independently owned and operated. There's no other brand out there that operates the way EXP does. We are one global brokerage no matter where we're located. One, not independently owned and operated franchises. And that's why we have mastered what we're talking about, which is called license portability. It's huge, people. It's a game changer. It's changed my game. It's changed Lisa Marie's game. Yeah. And Clifford's here to tell you it changed his as well.
Yeah. And no longer can someone say to you, you can't do that transaction because it's not in your market or it's not in your asset class. Really, the sky's the limit. And so what we're talking about here is thinking bigger than you ever thought you could before. I got an email yesterday from one of my agents in Nevada, and he's the church guy. I think we had him on the show. Yeah. And he says, "Lisa Marie, I'm doing a deal in Kansas. I didn't even know I could do a deal in Kansas." So now he's selling a church in Kansas. The portability allows him to do that. He was checking in with me as his broker to make sure he had the thumbs up. And I said, "Go forth and conquer. Go sell a property in Kansas," which you've never done before, but you're going to do it. You're going to be amazing. And you have the support of an incredible organization. And haven't you noticed, Clifford, that the other brokers and agents really want to help each other. And you don't find that when you're in a franchise model or a big box model where everybody's in competition. I mean, we all want to do great, but talk about, just as we're closing, about that camaraderie, that support that you find at EXP Commercial that Stephanie and I haven't found that anywhere else.
Certainly not. No. And I've got friends at some big box brokerage firms, and, they're very competitive and very hush hush, and they keep to themselves. And, except for their little team that they split, the commission 16 different ways. And so, anyway, I'd say that, speaking of the camaraderie, Brent Gove is in EXP and has been for many years. And he has this saying called "one big fire."
Yes.
And honestly, that is so accurate. We all want to do better. We all want to close more deals. We all want to grow. We all want to be the best brokerage we can be. And we are incentivized by that as well because of our stock price. And also just the fact that there are a lot of good people in EXP and EXP Commercial that I found that for some reason this brand of brokerage and this platform has allowed people to think in that way that you said, Lisa Marie, that they want to help each other and they want to be supportive. I think it's just culture. It's a great culture. And that's why we are so happy with the XP commercial. And we'll continue to grow with the XP commercial because the culture, good people, caring, loving, want to help and share. If someone wants to come in on a deal and they bring value, I'm happy to share and find opportunities and teach and learn, and then vice versa. So I think it's just a strong culture is what it comes down to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Clifford, for being here today. You are so awesome. I love you, and can't wait to see what's around the corner for you, because I know every time I read something you're doing, it's always big. So I love that.
Yeah, and Happy New Year to you and your big family, Clifford.
Oh, thank you for having me. Happy New Year. I love, I got some big announcements for stuff we're working on soon on LinkedIn and all social media platforms. So looking forward to it.
Connect with Clifford.
Yeah, and looking forward to y'all being part of it too. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Good job.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.